We have already implemented the functionality that allows the user to navigate to the register activity when clicking on the register button from the main activity, which is going to be the sign in page. And we saw that on Android, we do not need to add any back functionality or back navigation functionality, because that is already there, present on the back button. But we did mention that it would be a good idea to pass some value from the main activity to the register activity, just in case the user has written down an email address and they forgot that they are not registered yet and they want to navigate to the register page. In that scenario, we would want the email address edit text to be already filled out with what the user wrote down. So I'm going to stop this application from running. To add this functionality, the intent will prove useful again, because the intent, in addition to containing the information about the activity that should be started, can also contain information that can be delivered to that activity. So I'm going to navigate back to the main activity, where I have the intent that is being passed to the start activity. And it is to this intent to which I want to add some information that should also be sent to the register activity right from the main activity. This can be achieved through the Intents.mp4 method. And the putExtra method is going to have 24 overloads. And that is because it's going to have an overload pretty much for any type that you can imagine. At least, of course, simple types, not complex types like any class that you may define. But options for booleans and for array of booleans, for bundles and for array of bytes and for chars, array of chars, doubles, array of doubles, etc. And precisely one of these many overloads is going to accept a string. And that is exactly what we want to send. Now, in addition to accepting some value that is going to be passed to the activity to which we want to navigate, we also have to set a name for that data that will act as the identifier. For example, for this one, the ID or the name can be email. And the value for this is going to be whatever is written inside of the email edit text. It will work a little bit like dictionaries. We're going to have a key or the name, and we're going to have the value. And that's it. Through the intent, this is now being passed to the register activity. But in the register activity, we should receive this information. It's not just about sending it, but actually retrieve it. And we can do that inside of the onCreate method as well. After creating the event handler for the click of the button, of the register button, I want to get the information. And the information is going to be a string, because that is exactly what we passed. And this string is going to be email. And the email is going to be equal to intent, which is a property of the activity. And the intent is going to have a lot of get methods. Get bytes, get chars, get doubles, matching the overloads that we had for the putExtra method. And one of these get methods is getStringExtra method. And the getStringExtra method is going to request the name of the data, of the extra data that we have sent through the intent. And if you remember, we set this to email. And this then is how we are going to be retrieving that information. And finally, I want to set the email edit text.text to be equal to this email. Now, it doesn't matter if the user didn't write anything, because in that case, nothing would be assigned and this would still be empty. But in case the user did write something, it is going to be displayed in this email edit text as well. So I'm going to test this out on the simulator. And I have here the main activity, which is the login page, and I'm going to write something inside of the email address. Now, by the way, something worth noticing in here is that since we set this edit text to be of type email, the keyboard type has been set to email and I see the add symbol available. So if I start typing, it is very easy for the user to find the add symbol. And I'm going to click on register and notice that indeed the email edit text is displaying that information that I wrote back in the main activity. And since we are here, we can test how, since we set this edit text to be password, you see how the characters are being hidden. And the same thing is going to happen on both of the other elements inside of the register activity, as well as in the email where we also see that add symbol ready to be used. So we have already created the login and register pages for our delivery application. We have learned how to navigate from one to another in the case of Android, and we have learned how to pass values from one activity to another. In the next section, we're going to add this same functionality to a Xamarin iOS application.